Welcome back to Day 2 of the 2021 Texas Workforce Commission Virtual Forum. Enjoy your session, and remember, complete the survey for each session that you attend. These surveys will be sent to you via email at the end of each session.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 TWC Virtual Workforce Forum. You are in the session titled An Update on Perkins 5, the Career and Technical Education Landscape, 1 year later. I would now like to introduce your speaker for today, Jared Toussaint, Director of College, Career, and Military Prep, Texas Education Agency. You now have the floor.
Hello. Today I'll be walking you through the Career and Technical Education statewide program of study, development, and implementation process. You'll see how Perkins 5 legislation calls for and supports the state's programs of study work. As you support schools and districts, it's important to understand the alignment between the CTE courses and the statewide programs of study, which prepare students for success in their post-secondary choices, which could include college, an occupational training program, or beginning a career. So as we address programs of study, one of the things we want to call out is the direct impact of labor market information and access for students, primarily building the understanding of the knowledge and skills required for a specific occupation can shape the math, the science courses, the dual credit and advanced academic options that a student can take advantage of during their secondary grade experiences. Also, we know that teachers provide a significant amount of advising to our students and informing them of the relevance and the relationship of labor market data to the careers and the information and content being taught in the classroom is a valuable addition to our levers of advising access. We know that labor market information has a value to students that can help with their financial literacy and financial planning skills and competencies. But underlying all of this, the more information that a district, campus, administrator, counselor, or teacher has to help shape the pathways and the outcomes and the opportunities that a student is interested in pursuing, the stronger your crosswalks and the program planning and course sequences will be. And so connecting the needs of the student to the need of the community provides a valuable opportunity to maximize the learning opportunities and sequences within your programs. So Texas has had a recent history with programs of study that dates back to 2006 when the Achieve Texas framework was launched, which provided the organization of our courses across the respective clusters and programs that were being offered across the state. In 2014 and 2015, House Bill 5 introduced endorsements which provided an alignment of the graduation requirements with opportunities for specialization through electives and through academic courses that were targeted to specific areas of interest for the student, ranging from arts and humanities to public service to business and industry. Fast forwarding to 2020 and 21, we see the first year of implementation of the new updated programs of study that were a subsequent development of the Perkins 5 legislation. These new programs of study offer some new very significant shifts in the way that we offer programs and the way that we collect data with regard to our programs and in the way that we measure and evaluate our programs throughout the state. The elements you see on the slide serve as a guide in the development of the statewide programs of study. And according to the Perkins 5 federal legislation, the definition of a program of study must at minimum be a coordinated, non-duplicative sequence of academic and technical content at the secondary and post-secondary level. A program of study should incorporate challenging, state-identified academic standards that address academic and technical knowledge, as well as employability skills. They should align to the needs of industries in the state and regions of the state. The courses should provide knowledge and skills required for entrance into and advancement through high-wage, high-demand occupations. They should progress in content specificity, meaning that the introductory courses should provide broad foundational knowledge and skills that are common across multiple program areas and should progress to more occupationally specific courses. Programs of study should have multiple entry and exit points that allow for credentialing, which is a very important point as well. And the intentional design of programs of study helps put students on a path to further education, career readiness, and success. We've looked at studies, including the National Research Center for Career and Technical Education, that indicates that student participation in a program of study made it significantly more likely that they would take relevant courses in the future at the post-secondary level. So the studies in our experience really just drive home the fact that the benefits are abundant for our students going through these course sequences that constitute a program of study. Here at the agency, we conducted a process to identify high-wage, high-demand occupations in Texas to ensure alignment between industry and our secondary and post-secondary education. The process included stakeholders from the Workforce Commission, the Workforce Investment Council, the Higher Education Coordinating Board, industry representatives, secondary administrators, and teachers. The course sequencing methodology backwards mapped occupations from job knowledge and skill demand through post-secondary preparation programs, so colleges, trade schools, certifications, etc., to secondary education, and looked at data sources for the best results of labor projections that we could use to complement the real-time labor market information, which we were also collecting. The Texas Education Agency then engaged with a labor market economist, industry experts, and educators to update programs of study based on current and projected labor market needs. The proposed programs of study were completed in early 2019. We conducted a brief public comment period with a final release in the fall of 2019. Most importantly, school districts began implementing the statewide programs of study in the 2020-2021 school year. We know that school districts still have many questions about how the statewide programs of study will impact their current course sequences, school district accountability, and funding. On this slide, some program of study implementation considerations are listed. In accordance with federal law, Perkins funds can be used to support statewide or approved regional programs of study. Courses and CTE programs not included in either a statewide or regional program of study will not be able to use Perkins funding, but statewide weighted funding will still be generated, and schools may use that weighted funding to support these courses and programs. The CTE concentrator is now defined by Perkins to be a CTE student who completes 2 CTE courses for at least 2 credits within a program of study. This is a new definition set out by Perkins 5. Additionally, the course sequences will be used to determine if a student is a CTE concentrator based upon courses that they have completed, not based upon intent as in the past. Perkins 5 allows for additional program quality indicators to be selected and developed as well. Texas has chosen a program quality indicator called CTE completers, which is a student completing 3 or more CTE courses for 4 or more credits within a defined program of study with at least 1 advanced level course. This quality indicator is intended to report how many students are progressing through course sequences and completing advanced level coursework, which includes work-based learning. Under Perkins 4, the previous legislation, we only had participants and concentrators as categorizations for CTE students. Perkins 5 has added definitions, and some of the existing definitions have changed. It's important to understand each classification or category as we review data going forward. The non-CTE category includes no CTE, participants, and explorers. For federal reporting and state reporting, we will refer to the concentrators and completers as CTE learners. The graphic above illustrates some of the additional differences between Perkins 4 and Perkins 5. With Perkins 4, school districts self-reported student intent through PEIMS data collection using locally developed programs of study. There were wide variances in programs of study across the state, making it difficult to collect accurate and valid data. In addition, the self-reported data was time intensive and a heavy task for many of our districts. With Perkins 5, the data will be auto-calculated based upon student completion rather than intent. And that way, this data can be collected since all schools will be working off of the same statewide program of study list. This will provide a significant workload reduction for school districts and result in a much more reliable data set. One of the key new aspects of the new Perkins 5 legislation is the introduction of the comprehensive local needs assessment along with the local application. Essentially, every local needs assessment must be tied to a local application in order for a district to receive funding. What this means is that funding will not be distributed unless the requirements in the local application are met and are tied to the results of the comprehensive local needs assessment. We have worked with the Workforce Commission, the Coordinating Board, and the Investment Council to provide each district and education service center with labor market data, with CTE course enrollment and program level data to help support and streamline this local application and comprehensive local needs assessment process as much as possible. On this slide, you see the core indicators of performance that the agency, as a recipient of Perkins funding, is required to report to the federal government. 1S1, the 4-year graduation rate, represents the number of CTE students that graduate within 4 years. 1S2, the extended graduation rate, provides the number of students that graduate after completing more than 4 years of high school. 2S1, 2S2, and 2S3 provide information on the performance of CTE students on end-of-course exams in reading, language arts, mathematics, and science. The indicators provide data on the number of students that met or exceeded the standard set in Texas. 3S1 quantifies the number of students that are either enrolled in post-secondary education, employed, or in the military 2 quarters after high school graduation. 4S1 provides the data on the number of female students enrolled in traditionally male CTE programs and the number of males enrolled in traditionally female CTE programs. 5S1 communicates the number of CTE students who have attained a recognized post-secondary credential or a level 1 or 2 certificate. 5S4 is the additional indicator for performance selected by Texas to report to the federal government. This indicator provides the number of CTE students who are CTE completers. A CTE completer is a CTE student who has enrolled in, completed, and passed 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits in the same program of study. One of the courses is required to be an advanced level 3 or level 4 course. What you see in the pie chart are the number of CTE concentrators in the orange slice, which is 21%. These are the students who completed 2 or more CTE courses for 3 or more credits in the same program of study. The blue slice represents the number of CTE completers. It's 44%. You may recall this from the last slide, that a CTE completer is a student who has completed 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits in the same program of study with at least 1 advanced course. Finally, the gray slice represents the non-CTE students, which is 35%. This category includes students who have never completed a CTE course, CTE participants who have completed 1 CTE course, and CTE explorers who have completed CTE courses in various programs of study. What this chart tells us is that about 2/3 of Texas high school students were either CTE concentrators or completers. This bar graph displays the number of CTE concentrators and completers in each career cluster. You will notice that the blue portion of the bar represents the concentrators in the career cluster, and the orange portion represents the number of completers in the career cluster. This is important data to the agency because we want to encourage students to persist through a program of study and to become a completer. We believe that there are benefits to becoming a completer in that they are better prepared for success in their post-secondary endeavors related to that program of study. As I mentioned earlier, as a recipient of Perkins funding, the state is required to report graduation data to the federal government. What you see on this slide are the number of CTE concentrators and completers that graduated in 4 years is 97.02% compared to the 78.60% of non-CTE learners. The graduation rate is also disaggregated by gender and ethnicity, and you'll see across the board that CTE learners outperform the non-CTE learners on this measure. The last data slide I'd like to share with you illustrates the level of post-secondary credential attainment for CTE learners. You see 8.16% of CTE concentrators earned a industry-based certification, level 1 or level 2 certification or associate's degree versus 3.58% of all other students. The data also is demonstrated here by a career cluster of number of students who earned a post-secondary credential. This is the program of study framework document intended for school administrators and counselors. Each statewide program of study has a corresponding framework document. These documents are editable by districts to meet local needs, such as deleting courses that a district may not offer and adjusting contact information for counselors or staff within the school district. We'll take you through each element of the framework and the types of information that's contained in each element, and we'll show you where to access these on the TEA website. Each framework has the career cluster and program of study name, as well as the courses available for the program of study. A local education agency may choose to resequence the courses to meet school district needs, provided that required prerequisites are satisfied. For example, if staffing prevents a district from offering 4 courses every year, a district may choose to rotate courses to be offered every 2 or 3 years. The intention of levels listed in the program of study framework is twofold. This is the ideal sequence as outlined by the industry advisory committees, which we worked with through the program of study development process. And number 2, the courses listed as level 3 or 4 in the program of study are considered advanced courses for the purposes of the CTE completer definition. As defined by Perkins 5, a concentrator is a student who has completed and received credit for two or more courses for at least 2 credits within a program of study. To further track student participation in program quality, a completer is a student who has completed and received credit for 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits within a program of study, and at least one of those courses is a level 3 or 4, as a reminder. On the front page of the program of study framework, you'll see industry-based certifications and post-secondary programs related to the program of study. Additionally, and importantly, you'll find occupations that comprise the program of studies focus, including the related labor market information. Work-based learning and expanded learning opportunities are also included in this section of the document. Remember that these documents are editable by your districts for their use, so the work-based learning and expanded learning opportunities may be tailored to specific opportunities provided by your district. The bottom of the front page includes descriptions of the career cluster, program of study, and other information pertinent to the program of study. You will notice in the bottom blue box, the endorsement aligned with the program of study is also listed. This will be helpful information for your counseling staff as they advise students. We'll briefly show you how to access these documents on the TEA website. You could access the TEA website at http://tea.texas.gov. On the ribbon under the TEA logo, hover over Academics. A drop-down list will appear. Select Career and Technical Education. Here you'll be redirected to the CTE webpage. Scroll down the page until you see Programs of Study Resources in bold font. Select the title, and you'll be directed to the Program of Study webpage. Here you'll find the Program of Study Resources. You'll be able to access the framework documents and the Excel document with a listing of all the program of studies and their corresponding course sequences. You can click on the career cluster icon to view the program of study templates within the career cluster. However, if you'd like the editable templates, please select the accessible version link at the bottom of the page. You'll be able to personalize these framework documents to your school districts. A regional program of study application process was released with a statewide program of study list in the fall of 2019. Regional programs of study are intended to provide the opportunity for districts to develop course sequences that lead to high wage, high skill, and in-demand occupations based upon regional labor market information. All school districts within the Education Service Center region are eligible to implement the approved regional programs of study. Approved regional programs of study will be reevaluated every 4 years, and the regional application process will occur annually.
Thanks everyone for attending and for participating in the presentation. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
As a reminder, to ask a question, please click on the Q&A panel located on the bottom right side of your screen. Please type your question into the text field and hit send. Please keep the drop down as all panelists.
Jared, there was one question. Who defines multiple points of exit for a career path?
It's a great question. So we looked at the Bureau of Labor Statistics as a part of the Department of Labor and determined whether or not there were opportunities with either advanced training or advanced education to progress from an occupation to another occupation, either in a progression or laterally, through the availability of, as I mentioned, additional training or education. And we did that by mapping those occupations and their standard occupational codes to the related occupations which had similar education and training paths. So in short, we use the Department of Labor Statistics to determine multiple points of exit and entry for a career path.
I do not see any additional questions. There was just the one.
Great. Well, I think I've provided my contact information on the slide and happy to answer any questions subsequent to today if folks want to reach out to Texas Education Agency or to me directly for any clarifications or questions.
I do not see any additional questions. There was just the one.
Thank you for attending the 2021 Texas Workforce Commission Virtual Forum. We trust the information was beneficial and will help us better serve the people of Texas. We will see you next year.